Howdy! SimTheWorld here. We are back with our farming simulator series in the Alpine expansion. Working on our dairy farm here. You'll notice it is real time right now. This is kind of the talking portion. Last episode we had a few questions that I was trying to figure out. So this is where I'm going to explain, some of the game mechanics and some of the things that we're working on and working towards. Then we'll crank it back up to 15 times speed and get along with this episode. So the few details I figured out. So as far as the field goes that we're looking to purchase, let's jump over here. So we're trying to purchase field 4, and that is something we're doing today. But as you can see, there's wheat growing, and it is actually fully grown, or it's almost ready to harvest. So this is what the game is calling winter wheat. It was obviously planted in the winter, or right before the winter last year. I don't think it grew over the winter, but it grew over the spring. But this field still won't be ready to harvest until the fall, just like our calendar shows in seasons. So wheat, you can plant it all the way up until the end of autumn. Nothing happens in winter, and then it starts growing. So this is where we're at. As you can see, we were trying to do an episode each in-game month. We're getting 2 this month because, well, 1, I really wanted to purchase that field, and I want you guys along there with me. But 2, there's a few other things we got to get done real quick. So in addition to this, I also got some of the milking times wrong for the cows. So I thought I had explained how the cows work and how they produce milk, but I was incorrect. As you can see, we've got decent amount of milk already coming in. So the cows, you buy them, they're artificially inseminated. You wait 9 months, they start producing milk for 10. Then there's 2 months off, and then they start producing milk again. So essentially, we're going to be getting milk out of these cows every 10 out of 12 months. This was something I didn't realize before. I thought after they had the calf, they'd get, and after they finish producing milk, they'd be artificially inseminated again. This is incorrect. I think it's after 3 months after they have a calf, they're, artificially inseminated again. That way you get the 10 months of producing milk, you get 2 off, and in that 2 months off, they should give birth to another calf at the end, and the cycle continues. So there's a lot of back and forth there. It's pretty confusing. That's why I haven't found a lot of good resources on that. But the easiest way to say it is, for every cow you have, it's producing milk for 10 out of 12 months. There's going to be a 2-month period where it's not producing anything. So that changes kind of our strategy. I thought we'd have more downtime with them, so I was kind of worried we wouldn't have money coming in. That also tells me we're up to 41 cows. And as you can see, next animal for some of these, the male's not going to give birth. So we have another calf coming. There's another calf. There's a few more right there. So there's at least 10 or 12 more calves coming. This barn only holds 50 cows. So as I mentioned before, some of these Ashars, I really want to move over to just a Holstein farm. They take more food, but they also produce more milk. I think it's a difference of 2,000 liters a year for each cow. The Ashires will produce about 8,000 liters per cow in a year. Something like that. Whereas the Holsteins do 10. This means I got to get rid of some of these cows, and I'm going to focus on the Holsteins. That's what we're going to be doing this episode, in addition to getting a new field. So enough chatting about this. If this made sense, hopefully this helps you guys, especially if you're playing with seasons and cows. The milking's really important. You got to understand they are producing a lot of milk. That's something we need. We'll get the time up and we'll get the cows sold. Alright, so we need to choose which cows we're taking to market. for me, I think it'd make the most sense. We got to do the Ashires. And I know we have this male Holstein. There's no reason we need this. It's actually already worth almost 600 pounds, so we are going to take it. It's not going to produce milk. It's only good for meat. Yeah, this is a new Ashire calf. And this is kind of what I want to take. Is the new calves that it takes 2 years for them to become fully mature to where they can produce a calf of their own and then start producing milk. There's no point in feeding them if we're not going to get any return on them. That is 5. Let me just double check through here, make sure there's nobody else we can take. Now these Ashires, they're the ones we started with, are already producing milk, so there's no reason to get rid of them until we absolutely have to. So I think this is all we're taking. Everything else is either producing milk or these new ones will start producing milk within the next couple years. So it's only 5 we're getting rid of. That's okay. Oops. I did not put those in there, did I? So back here, we'll get these back and ready to go. All right, now that we have the entire thing filled, let's go ahead. We can take that top off. You can see all the cows in there. They're all happy and ready to go, even though they really shouldn't be. It is taking them to market. Being calves, I'd imagine we're not taking them to the store. We're not taking them to market. We're taking them to the place where we bought the other cows in the past. I imagine that they're not going to sell these as veal. They're going to sell these as calves for another farmer. That would make the most sense. But you never know. Maybe nobody wants these and it ends up on somebody's dinner plate in the coming weeks. I myself am impartial to veal, so never know. Though I'd imagine the stress of being moved around and things like that, not quality. Let's get these dropped off and we'll see if we make a little bit of extra cash before we buy this next farm. Then we can take a look at jobs, because we also got to be making money on the side, because there's a few more things we'll need very quickly here. Can I cut this corner? That I can. Get this trailer in. We're not going to get a lot for these calves. They're not fully grown. That's okay. We just need enough. Actually, I noticed you can drop the trailer here. Make it a little more realistic. Now we can sell them, even though it's kind of spinning there. So these we move back over. Empty it. That's a quick $2,000. It's not a lot. It's not going to make or break us, but it is a decent amount. Something else that I want to mention, or that I'm keeping track of for this year, is our jobs and what we're doing. So I know last year I noticed that the fertilizing jobs just keep popping up on fields, and while that's easy money for us, so to speak, it's not as realistic. You wouldn't fertilize a field 3 or 4 times. And in game, you only need to fertilize a field twice. So that is what I'm keeping track of this year, is how many times we fertilize fields for jobs. And we're not going to go over 2 times. And granted, there's 25 fields in the game, so there's 50 fields, 50 jobs in total that we can do. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. I just want to make sure we're not doing like field 14 3 or 4 or 5 times like we did or may have done last year. I want it to be realistic and not kind of grimy is the word I'm looking for. So this is taken care of. Let me pop into the map here. So we have done, if I go through the list, we've done fields 2, 4, 11, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 21, 22, and 25. So we've already done about half the fields and fertilized them once. I'm not going to go through this every time with you guys. I just wanted to show you that we have been doing some. We do have fertilizing contracts here. That's what I'm going to be working on today. Of course, 11 and 12 have already been fertilized once. So once I do these fields, same with 2. Once I do these 3 fields, that's it for fertilizing for those. Yeah, we won't touch those again. We'll have to do other jobs, be it weeding or harvesting at some point in the future, perhaps sowing, towards the end of the year. I want to keep it fresh. I want to keep it exciting. And let's keep going. So the cows, we have some space. The new calves will be here. Let's go purchase that field. What am I waiting for? So it's been a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a full year of saving up money and not spending it on equipment we may or may not need, even though I like doing that. Let's make this field ours. $285,000, that is quickly gone, but now it's all of ours. It's all our field. Fantastic. Feel like we're making some serious progress. Something I want to do, we are playing with precision farming, so I do want to go through here and do samples on this field, get that figured out. I'll probably lease that equipment, and that will be an episode we do on its own, probably after we harvest. Because once we harvest, we'll probably want to plow this and do all that good stuff. We are playing with weeds, so I want to keep an eye on that. However, I did turn off crop destruction. As much as I'm trying to do realistic stuff, it's probably not worth. I don't want to damage the crops. We'd be losing stuff, and I don't know. It's just not set up. I don't feel like there's a good setup for putting the tram lines in, doing it the right way. Essentially, unless you're using a bunch of mods and doing it that way, where you're able to make the rows and make it look good. Otherwise, you're just running over crops and wasting money. So in an effort of trying to just, plant what we need and plant what we collect, we're going to keep the crop destruction turned off for this series. Also, something to note, just as that barn is only holds 50 cows, as you saw, we're running pretty close on that, so I do want to get a bigger barn for the cattle. That's going to be probably our next big purchase, what we need to save up for. And that will be going in this field right here. I kind of have some plans for that already, but we need cash. Putting a new barn is not cheap whatsoever. There's plenty of mods, so if you guys have suggestions on what kind of barn we should place, obviously I'm looking for something that will hold at least a couple hundred cows, if not more. The one I'm looking at will hold 500 cows, which, as you can see, these things, we've gotten a lot of calves pretty quick. 1 year, these things already spit out another calf, so after another year here, we're going to have another 20 or so. This is going to grow quickly, and we need to expand quickly to account for that. Once we get the new barn, I don't think we're going to keep using this one. I kind of want to keep everything to one, but we'll see how it goes. We got a lot to do. That's further down the road. With all that said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm so glad to finally have a field of our own. Thanks for watching as I simulate my life one game at a time. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss any of the future action. You can follow on Twitter for updates of future games being played, as well as follow on Twitch, as I'll occasionally stream live. Thanks, and I'll see you next time at SimTheWorld.